Well, hello enemies and book lovers, my name is Ash. Welcome back to my channel. For the first time in a few months, I'm going to be actually doing a wrap-up video. So I'm going to try going through this pretty quickly and kind of just briefly talking about what books I read in December. How many books did I read in December exactly? Okay, well, I have 6 books that are considered novels. I have 1 fan fiction, and then I have 3 manga. I'm not going to talk about the manga, I already discussed this. It's going to be for my taste test video. So the manga I will not discuss in this video, but I will discuss the other 6 novels and 1 fanfic I read. The first book I want to briefly mention is an embarrassing one because I still haven't finished it. I started this in November for my Dragon Readathon and I still didn't finish it, and I think I will continue it. I just don't know when I'm going to continue it. It's kind of like a temporary DNF. I wouldn't say it's like a full-on DNF. It's kind of just like I'm putting it down and hoping I can get to it another time. I got a decent amount of the way through. It's just like I haven't really been that absorbed into it. It's been very hard for me to continue it. And that is Shadow of the Gods. I've been mentioning this a lot lately and I just still haven't gotten to it. I haven't finished it yet. I am most of the way through this now. I only have this much left, but I'm a little over halfway, barely, and I just haven't been able to really read much of it. To be fair, there hasn't been a single dragon. There's a dragon on the cover, and technically this is not a dragon, this is a wyvern. You don't know what the difference is between a wyvern and a dragon. You kind of see how its wings and his arms are like the same thing. A dragon has 4 legs, and its wings are on its back. So this is a wyvern, technically speaking, if you want to be very specific. At that point, I think I'm just being picky. Doesn't really matter. This dragon on the cover is actually a god, and all the gods have fallen, and we haven't seen them yet. I'm assuming they might return. That's just like an assumption, but I don't know yet because they're all kind of just dead. There's some characters that are kind of like descendants of the gods, and they have powers that kind of show the symbolism of the gods themselves, and that's really cool, but I'm not like obsessed with this, and I'm enjoying it. But it's just, I don't really know why, I'm just not really picking it up. So I'm gonna temporarily DNF this, but I'm hoping I can continue it and finish it sometime this year. I don't know when, but I do want to eventually pick it up again. So let me go quickly over the books I read in December. I'm saying briefly, but knowing me, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna have to edit probably like a 50-minute video. My last video was an hour long, and I edited it down to like 22 minutes. That's how bad I talk, okay? I talk way too much. So let's just move on to the first book I finished in December. For that, I gave a 4.25 to, and that is Chalice of the Gods by Riordan. I don't even know where this falls when it comes to the Percy Jackson universe, because this does not fall at the very end of the series like it's currently at. There's going to be some follow-ups of this one, and I'm very scared. This one's really cute. It follows Percy and Annabeth for the first time in a long time, and also Grover. I think I read this in about 2 or 3 days, and I do have a few tabs. There's such cute Percybeth stuff in this, like, so cute, so cute. They're finally teenagers. They're just so adorable together. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it does take a long time for them to build up a relationship, and it just melts my heart how cute these two are together. I just love this because of Percybeth moments. Honestly, that's like the biggest reason why I like this so much. But I am looking forward to the other books in the series because there's definitely going to be more. It's very obvious in the way this ended that there will be at least another book, if not multiple, which is really exciting and fun. So the next book is going to be Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. This was interesting, I guess you could say. I feel like it's kind of like on the lower end of 3 stars. It wasn't bad necessarily. I don't think it was too YA for me. I think it was just too simple for me. It had a very simple premise. I did like aspects of it. I did clock every single twist and turn though. There's only like one I didn't expect, but every single twist and turn in this book, I 100% knew. But the big twist at the end of this book, I knew from like the first hint. There's like one scene that happens in the first maybe like 20 pages, like this part of the book, where I realized the big twist by the end of it. And it kind of sucks. The romance in this was kind of cute, but like oddly cute. I don't really know how to explain it. I like the little nicknames they had for each other. It wasn't, to my opinion, it was just sweet and simple. In this book, we follow the main character. She had like these powers that she can bring things back to life, like kind of like earth magic in a sense of the word. There's like a curse in the forest, and everyone gets cursed with this magic that's coming from the forest. It's actually pretty messed up because there's people that she actually knows who turn into these creatures, and it's pretty creepy the way it was detailed, and I really liked that aspect of it. It was a little bit creepy, and I really liked that. But the main character wasn't very intelligent. She did a lot of things that really annoyed me. She kept going back into the forest despite everyone telling her not to, and then something bad happened, but she would just go back into the forest alone anyway. And I was just like, girl, why are you going back to that damn forest? I would be hightailing it out of there so fast. And I know she's a teenager, but like, oh my gosh, this teenager has way too much bravery, in my opinion. She had way too much bravery to the point where it was almost stupid. But I still liked it. It was still simple and easy, but I didn't love it. I kind of wanted to like start skimming it by the end of it. I already knew what was going to happen probably, so it wasn't that exciting for me. So for this, I gave it a lower 3 stars, unfortunately. I think I'm going to give this away though, and give it to someone that might enjoy it more than I did. Okay, the camera might have moved because I needed to talk to my boyfriend on my phone, and now I'm back. The third book I read in December was Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Now for this one, I don't really know how to feel about it. Oh yeah, what are the characters' names again? Wait, okay, so the characters' names, I need to tell you what the characters' names are because we all know that fantasy has weird names, right? And we know that happens all the time. And I'm writing my own fantasy book, and yes, My main character does have a strange name that I've created on my own, but I feel like it's not too bad. Maybe it is actually. Am I part of the problem? Okay, well my character's name is Leah. You know what? I think I am part of the problem. So the main character of this book, the protagonist, her name is Tisana, which isn't too bad. It's just that whenever I read it, I just don't remember the name of it. I actually have to have it written on, like I have a picture of it, because I just don't know her name. And then there's the hero, the male protagonist, and I knew his nickname was Max, okay? They shortened his name to Max. Like my character, like I said, her name is Leah, and we call her Leah. Great. For the male love interest in this book, he has the nickname Max, but his actual name is Maxentarius. Now the thing is, the reason why I'm laughing is because I didn't remember his name and I had to look it up. I thought his name was Maximilian, which and then I was like, is it Maximus? Like Claudius Maximus? Like I forgot his name. All I knew it started with Max. Literally, I thought it was Maximilian. I don't understand what's wrong with me. It sounds like a dog's name. Max is a dog's name. No offense to anyone named Max out there. If your name is Max, I'm very sorry. But like, that's a dog's name. Just saying. I'm just gonna move on. I feel like I'm offending someone out there. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone that's named Max. I apologize. For Daughter of No Worlds just felt kind of like stereotypical romantasy, which isn't really a bad thing. I think if I read this early on into my like romantasy era, I would have probably liked this a lot more. I like the slow burn in this book. I love me a slow burn. Like the slowest of burns, make me wait. Just give me the bookish blue balls. Oh my god, I shouldn't say that. I'm so disappointed in myself. But it is true. Give me the tension, give me everything, and this book did give me that. It was nice, but I felt like when the romance did kickstart, it felt a little, not sudden, because it did take a while. I kind of wish that when the slow burn and the romance started, it would have been a little bit slower, gradually going into one another. It kind of felt like there was a slow burn tension and just snapped into more. It would have been kind of nice to have like something in between, but other than that, like that's fine. That was just like a small gripe I had. We have the main character Tisana. She is a slave. She leaves slavery and knows that she's going to return and help everyone that is back where she originally was from, so she can save all the slaves there and her best friend. And so she wants to go back and help everyone, but she won't be able to do that without, you know, gaining at least some power, some type of help from other people. And it actually kind of reminds me of my own story, not the slavery part. I didn't have slavery in my book. There is an aspect to someone leaving their current kingdom or their current realm, leaving that place, trying to find help for someone else and seeing if they can, you know, like bring enough force to help her own realm or kingdom and try to get the people there kind of out of that situation. And that's kind of similar to my own story in some regards. So I really liked that aspect of it. It was nice kind of seeing something that was similar to my own book because like, I don't know, it's kind of cool in my opinion. In doing so, she finds Max and he kind of helps her harness her own powers. And I did like that aspect of it. I enjoyed it. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't out of the park. And I know that the second book has even a lower rating than the first book, so I'm a little bit trepidatious going into it. I'm not sure if I will love it, and I think that I'm a little bit nervous going into the second book because I've heard mixed / negative things about it. I heard it's the weakest in the trilogy, and that's not great considering the fact that the first book only got a 3.5 stars. So I'm hoping I will still like the second book. I have it on KU, so if I don't like it, I'm not forced to continue it, but I really want to get through the series. I think I will like Serpent and the Wings of Night more, which is her other series, but I'm trying to get to the first one first, the first trilogy, because I want to kind of go through her books chronologically. So if I don't like this, I will DNF it, but I still want to try her other books because I know that they are very much like loved. I am in my vampire era because of Astarion from Baldur's Gate. So he brought me back to the vampire, you know, craze, and I'm eating it up. I love dragons, I love vampires. That's why I'm writing it in my own story as well. Tangent aside, I will continue this trilogy. I don't know if I will like whatever happens next, but I'm going to try my best to get through it and see if I like it. The romance is kind of pushing me through it, I guess. I just don't know where it's going to go from here, and I'm a little bit nervous. The next one I'm going to very, very quickly go over. This is a fan fiction I read in December. I read this because for the Bookemon prompt to read something that's embarrassing in public. Now, I'm not going to read in public. I don't really leave my house. It sounds really sad, but I don't really go anywhere. My area is not very safe, okay? So I don't really go out, and especially not alone. And so I had nowhere to go to read outside publicly for like hours. That's not gonna happen. That's not happening. So Merb did say if you can't read in public, then just show it on the internet, kind of like tell people about it. And I guess I'm doing it now, but I did do it in December. I did explain to people what it was, and I was slightly embarrassed. And that's hard to do. I'm not very easily embarrassed by books I read. There's only one book I've ever read that I genuinely was embarrassed to talk about on my channel, and I've only said it once, and it was very brief. It was a monster romance, and I liked it. That was the only thing I've ever been embarrassed to talk about because I'm not a prude person. Me and my family have always been open about this kind of thing, but I will talk about this book, this fan fiction. And the only reason why it's embarrassing is because I'm not really into this character from this video game, but I wanted to give it a shot, and I gave it a shot. This is unfinished, so it's not completed yet, but I did get to where it currently is, and I don't know if I want to continue it if it is continued, but I do know that this is an interesting one. This is based off of characters from Call of Duty. You might know. If you know, you know, and if you don't, well, I'm about to out myself. This is following the characters of Call of Duty. This is Ghost, or Simon Riley. I've seen so many thirst TikToks of this man, and the thing is, I'm not even a huge fan of him in that way. I have played Call of Duty growing up, and I'm not really a fan of the games. The only game I think I enjoyed was Black Ops 1 or 2, and then I just stopped playing them after that. Only war games I actually enjoy are Battlefield, and that's it. And I haven't even played that in a long time, so it's not really my kind of game. And I do know Simon Riley, or like Ghost. I know him. I've seen the games, and I've never ever thirsted after that man, and I still don't. Tell me why I've read the fanfiction then. Why did I read that damn fanfiction? Why did I read it? It's a second point of view, so it's saying you, which is so weird. It felt so strange to be reading something that was in second point of view. I've never actually read a book like that before. So you as the main character are a character who has to have a marriage of convenience in order to have medical bills taken care of. There's no term for what they have because the author themselves has it themselves and they don't want to really discuss it, but it's something where their body and their back and their spine and like they just go through immense pain and they can't afford to get the medication for it because it's in America. So this is taking place in America and they can't afford the medical bills. And so they need to marry someone out of convenience to get like the benefits of helping with the healthcare system. And so she ends up marrying Ghost in order to do so. After the ceremony is done, they just start going at it. It was like instantaneous. So they never met each other. They're at the aisle. He's wearing his mask, by the way, still. Just the guy wearing his mask as you're saying his vows. Like, this is just so romantic. And then as it's finished, they go into the room and things ensue. And he wears his mask like the entire time. And he like lifts it up once in a while to do things, you know. I won't say what those things are. It was okay. I kind of liked some aspects of it. The main character is also plus size, which is really cool. And she mentions it like very few times. Never mentioned it in a negative way. It's just kind of mentioned once in a while, which I actually enjoyed. But the problem is, it was just too much smut. And that's for me. I know some people really love their smut, but it was just like mostly that. And I was kind of bored. I also was promised that Koenig would have joined them, who is the guy I actually prefer. Point is, he never actually ended up joining yet. He's just like joined into like a throuple. Didn't happen. But you know what? I'm here for it. Maybe eventually she'll continue it. But other than that, yeah, that's what the fanfiction's about. And it is slightly embarrassing, only because I actually don't really thirst after Ghost. But I tried it. I'll try anything at least once, as long as it's not too weird. So I tried that, and it was fine. I'm not gonna rate it because it was a fanfiction, but I would, if I had to, I guess I would give it like a 3.5. It was okay. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it, and it's not completed, so yeah, just too much smut for me. The fifth book I read in December was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins Reid. I actually did this as a buddy read with one of my viewers. You know who you are. I appreciate you so much. They have been amazing. We had a great time with it. Did we? No, we didn't. I guess I kind of did. Maybe not her, though. So I gave this a 3.5 stars. Now, originally, it was a little bit higher, but there are some problems with this book, and I'm not really personally going to go into it. I did mention it in my TBR video, so there are some aspects of it I didn't love, but I did enjoy this. It's not something I usually read. I'm not really a historical fiction person. I'm not really like a celebrity type of person, but this one I kind of liked in a lot of regards. It made me emotional, okay? I did cry 3 separate occasions. Kind of like more like small crying. I didn't like bawl my eyes out at any point, but at the very end, I did tear up the most out of any other part in the book. No one was really likable in this book. There's only one person I actually enjoyed being around or reading about. That's Harry, by the way. I really loved Harry. He's my favorite character. He was like the only character that I genuinely liked. I really like the reality of everyone kind of being human, I guess you can say. No one's ever perfect in real life, and everyone has their faults. So I kind of liked the aspect of humanity in this book and how human everyone seemed. I also think it's really important to kind of listen to own voices talk about this book. I have nothing really to say about the topic of race. There is discussions on it, so I will post above, so that way you can see what those are. This is the book I really went through really quickly. It was very easy for me to read, and I liked it overall. It was a library copy. I don't know if I'm going to read from Jenkins Reid anymore because of certain things I've heard, but I did enjoy this while I had the chance of reading it. So the 6th book is actually one I picked up very randomly at my library. I needed to read a book with a cat on the cover for my Aurelium annual readathon, so it was to get an owl cat, and I did get my owl cat. So at my library I actually found a graphic novel that had a cat, and I read it in a day. This is Are You Listening by Tillie Walden. Just picked it off the shelf, knew nothing about it, and I just decided to bring it home and read it. This has LGBTQIA plus themes in it. There are a little bit of trigger warnings, so be careful going into it. There is mention of SA. It's a character in there, I'm not sure if it's like their sibling or their family member, or like step sibling. All I know is that there is darker topics in this. It's not mentioned constantly, but it is something that is mentioned in this book. So there is definitely LGBTQIA plus themes in this book, and there are some scenes in this I really enjoyed. It is a bit strange though. It doesn't really make sense a whole lot. There are things in this I think are a lot deeper than I really understood. It's kind of like whimsical realism in a sense of the word. There's two young people on a road trip, and on the way through this road trip they find a cat, and they want to find the owners of the cat, and so they're trying to find this location that is kind of like unknown to everyone around them. They don't even know where this place is. It's not on any maps or anything like that. It kind of was confusing to me, but I still liked the themes overall in it. I think that there was a lot of meaning behind this book, and I think that's what I liked most about it. I didn't love it. I don't rate graphic novels, so I did not rate this, but I did enjoy it overall. I don't know if the author did this intentionally, but there are some really cool panels where they actually have colors of different LGBTQIA plus flags. So here's one. So we have black, yellow, and purple. That is one of the flags that we have. There's also things like this, which is the lesbian flag color. I love that. I love seeing different like colors of the flag. Could be a coincidence, but I just really liked seeing it in case that's what the author was trying to do and imply. Here's another example of kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the flags right there. I enjoyed my time reading it anyway because of the messages behind it and everything like that. So I did enjoy this. It was more just random read because I needed to get to a book with a cat in it or on the cover. 2 books left. I'm not going to ramble about the next one, even though I definitely could, but I'm not going to talk too much about it. That's Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This is the last and one of the very few 5 stars of 2023. I know. I am kind of shocked myself. I know that this book was very popular when it came out, and I know that this is like the most beloved of the trilogy, and I knew people said I was gonna cry. They said I was gonna cry. I freaking cried. I did, okay? If my boyfriend was not sitting next to me, I probably would have cried harder because he was next to me and I was trying to hold it back as much as I could. It came out. A little bit of tears came out because I just couldn't help myself. The way this ended was not the way I thought it was going to end. I had a very like predetermined thought in my brain that this would be the way it would end. It would end a certain way, these characters would die, so on and so forth. I was actually pretty wrong, and I'm very happy that I was wrong because it had some twists and turns I did not expect, and it kind of took me on a path where I started crying for things I didn't even know I was going to cry about, and I love that, okay? And the way this ended, the way it ended gives me hope for future books. So that's all I'm gonna say. I finally finished this trilogy after 6 years, and I cried. And I am going to miss these characters. I really, really prefer the Infernal Devices over the Mortal Instruments so much more. I'm excited to finish Mortal Instruments so I can just move on with Cassandra Clare's books. Moving on to more serious topics, the last book I read in the month of December of 2023 was The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine. I find this to be incredibly interesting that this was my last book of the year. I'm glad I ended the year off on a book that is still currently relevant. Going into the new year, it's not like anything's changed. December 31st and January 1st for people of Gaza have not changed. They are still experiencing everything that has happened to them in the past few months. Not only that, but the past 75 years. As most books do in discussion of history, this was very, very difficult to read, not only because it was hard to hear certain stories that I still don't think I can forget. It wasn't in grave detail, by the way, nothing extreme detail, but there was enough detail to just, I just hate history. The face of humanity is sometimes horrible and disgusting, and this book kind of just touches upon that. The narrator and the author themselves are not biased. They read things that actually happened. They read notes and diaries of people that actually were taking part in the cleansing. The author wasn't choosing sides. It was definitely just reading what happened. That's all it was. There was no bias, which I think is the best way to see history. And the fact that this is still currently happening to this day, almost exactly the same, exactly what was happening back then is happening again now. And people who are still blind to saying that this is like not a problem, people are saying that this is a war. This is not a war. By the way, it's not a war. It's not back and forth. It's one-sided. I don't want to get into the topic too much because this is obviously something that's a little bit touchy for some people. It's just really frustrating to be here while that's happening. And like me even making a booktube video, sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? I'm making a booktube video while all these things are happening in the world. It feels very weird, to say the least. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this. It's like uncomfortable for some people. It should be uncomfortable, honestly. It is uncomfortable for me to talk about because it's the internet. People have a lot of things to say on the internet, have a lot of like, you know, opinions and feelings toward things. And so this is a difficult thing to discuss. And I don't really know what to say, honestly. But history does repeat itself, and what side you're on kind of dictates you as a person. Regardless of what things people have done, it's clear that what's happening now is wrong. When countries colonize other countries, they hide it. They don't say that we're colonizing countries. They say that we are attacked. They say all these different things. They lie in order to manipulate people into believing that what's happening is happening. And that's what's happening in this book as well. This book talked about that. The colonizers actually say, hey, this is what's happening. They are evil. They are enemies. They are soldiers. And they're not. They're just civilians. Once you bring babies and children and innocent people into it, it's not a war. Because I know ignorance is bliss, but I hate being ignorant because it makes me feel like I'm also part of the problem. So I try to be, you know, knowledgeable in this type of stuff, and reading about history and reading about this kind of stuff is important. And I'm probably gonna lose more subscribers because when I talked about Palestine before, I lost like 6 subscribers. That's okay. If you're not comfortable with it, that's fine. I'm not gonna like hate on anyone for reading certain books. I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna like belittle anyone. I'm not someone like that. I am the least confrontational person in the world. I will avoid confrontation to every extent. This is like the most confrontational I've ever been on my own channel. So I'm going to finish the video off here because there's a dog barking outside and I need to finish this off. Like I said, sorry to end off on a negative note, but sometimes I'm passionate about things, okay? If you just ask my boyfriend. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great reading month in the first month of 2024, and I hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.